Whee! You get my full-on presentation here. So I'm just going to record this, and I'm just going to talk through the whole thing, and then we'll answer your questions afterward, so that I can just cut this piece out and put it in the group and on the website. All right. Okay. All right, so for those of you who are new to this community, my name is Beth Griffith, and I am a success coach. You'll notice that when you see my logos, you see triangles and you see this circle. The triangle stands for the three different areas that I believe are important for every business to have in place. First being, you need the foundation of the dream of what you want to build, and then the other side, one side of that structure is the belief that it's possible. And then the third side is doing, the actual action. And so everything that I do, it helps you to identify the dream. It helps you to identify the beliefs that you need to have in place for that to happen. And it helps you identify what you need to do to make it get there. The circle, you'll notice that it has this arrow. That is signifying the fact that you are going to up level. You are going to start at where you're at, and you're going to use this method and system to take yourself to the next level of your business. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So why the heck should you listen to me? I own a co-working space. I also am owner of a hair extension company. I'm not just, another coach coaching coaches to coach coaches, but I love you guys who do coach coaches to coach coaches, because I believe that you guys do important work, and coaches are one of the most important people in the world. I am so grateful that we have that in place. I just want you guys to see that I actually do a lot. And so you can listen to me about achieving and accomplishing, because I am achieving and accomplishing a lot. So when it comes to why we're here, it comes down to the fact that I have brain damage. I have a condition in my brain called hippocampal asymmetry. And hippocampal asymmetry means that one side of my brain is smaller than the other when it comes to the hippocampus. So the left side of my brain is in the 77th percentile, and the right side of my brain is in the 22nd percentile. So it is a very significant difference in my brain. And so this part of the brain is responsible for memory, it's responsible for language, and it's responsible, and my memory, always makes me forget what the third one is half the time: memory, language, and mood. And so because those three things are so integral to the work that I used to do, which I was a brand strategist, and I would help my 5-figure one-on-one clients to rebrand themselves. And so I've very successfully marketed and sold myself for several years now, and helped my clients to be able to do the same. And so when I found out just a few months ago that this was the case with my brain, I knew that something had to change. I knew that I needed to change the direction of my life and of my business. And so I began researching as things got worse. So what ended up happening was I went and I was visiting my sister-in-law, and my best friend was with me. And one morning I started to tell my sister-in-law a story, and my best friend said to me, "You just told her that story last night." And I said to her, "I didn't talk to her last night." And she said, "Yes, you did." And so what I ended up learning was that my brain just doesn't even convert experiences into memories sometimes. And after discussing it with the neurologist, found out that that's not getting, it will get better with medication, but I'm never getting those memories back. And so as I began studying what it takes to be able to get memory back, because if you don't have memory, who you are is dead. And so all of a sudden I found myself in this bucket list, live like you're dying place. And I started studying Alzheimer's and Alzheimer's prevention. And so what ended up happening was I ended up learning that having fun and play is an incredibly important part to maintaining your memory. So not having fun was no longer an option. And I ended up learning that one of the ways that you can prevent Alzheimer's is through It's through playing a variety of games on a consistent basis. And so I decided to make my life and my business all about play and fun and games. And so that's why I help people to gamify their lives and gamify their businesses. And that's where the Revolution of Winning was born. And so the Revolution of Winning, it is a program that it's a membership, and it's designed so that you will start to make all of the different tasks in your business that are so menial and so boring into something that's highly, highly achievable. And so it's a productivity program, but it's nothing like any other productivity program you've ever been involved with, because the Revolution of Winning is designed to make it so that you get out of your own way, because you're so focused on winning the game that you're not getting in your head about the tasks that you have to complete. And so what we have to do is we have to use the Simple Success Cycle. Now, the Simple Success Cycle was something that I had developed, but Todd Herman, if you're familiar with Todd Herman of the 90-Day Year, he was my mentor when I developed this, and he helped me to improve it. And it became something absolutely brilliant with his mentorship and help. And so you can see that there are 6 sections to this Simple Success Cycle: structure, interaction, mindset, production, leverage, and it says environment, but we actually mean experience. And so you might think, okay, we start with number 1. We're actually going to start with number 6. And so experience. We have to identify what is the experience that you are dissatisfied with. When we understand what you are dissatisfied with, then we can start to get clear on what it is that you want. Most people who come to me, they just don't know what they want, and so they cannot create it. And so we have to start with, okay, what am I dissatisfied with? What do I want to see instead? And so when you can get clear on what that experience is that you want to see instead, then we can actually start moving forward to create it. So the first thing that you'll do once you identify what that experience is that you want to create, you're going to create your structure or your plan for what you want to create. And when it comes to that structure or plan for what you want to create, is you need to make sure that you're not creating some extremely extensive structure or plan. If your brain looks at a list of 10, 20, 30 things that you have to do to get there, you're going to get overwhelmed and you cannot get to that next level because you'll shut down. So we go from that structure, and then we have to think about what interactions, what conversations, what boundaries do I need to put in place in order for that structure to actually happen. Because most of the time what happens is we let our plans be derailed because we don't want to let other people down, or we feel like they have expectations of us, or we let the people outside of us keep us from going for what we want, or we keep our structure and our plan and our dream and our crazy experience that we want to create to ourselves. And so there's no accountability outside of ourselves. And so this is simply sharing what it is that you're going for and letting people know what support you need in order to get there. The thing that comes next is your own mindset. What is it that you need to believe in order to be successful? Because if you are not being consistent with a particular mindset, and usually it's just 1 or 2 things, maybe it's just you need to focus on being consistent. Maybe it's just that you need to focus on believing you're good enough. If that 1 belief or 2 beliefs were in place, everything else would happen. But when you have that belief and you understand what you need to create, all of a sudden, you're going to automatically be producing something. You're going to be producing results. You're going to be producing data, and impact, resources. You're going to produce things that are actually trackable, and things that you can see that make it so that you know that what you're doing is working. When you are producing results, you have resources, you have new relationships, you have time, you have skills, you have time, energy, you have all of these things in place that make it so that you can get to that experience. If you just leverage what you've got over and over and over, you're automatically going to get to that new experience. Now, If it was this simple, you'd be there already. And so I need you to understand that the reason why you're not there is because something could be missing from your structure, interaction, mindset, or production. You're not tracking data. You're not tracking information. And if you were doing that, then your mindset would stay in place, and so would everything else. And so these are the 4 cornerstones of actually having success, is the structure, the interaction, the mindset, and production. Because when those 4 things are in place, you automatically produce things to leverage. And then the only thing you have to focus on is leveraging. Just leverage, leverage, leverage until you get to that new experience. So here's the important piece. Let me actually go back one. Okay, so here's the important thing, is that if you do not leverage, then you cannot get to the experience that you want to see instead. You're just missing that piece. If you stop leveraging things, then it does not matter what you produce. It doesn't matter. You can track it all the day long, but if you're not doing anything with it, it doesn't matter. If you do not see progress, then your mindset 100% will crack. If your mindset cracks, you stop upholding those boundaries and conversations and relationships that you have in place. And then that structure doesn't matter because you just let it fall apart. And so then suddenly you are stuck back at that experience that you are dissatisfied with. So it is a cycle, 100%. So making sure that all of these things are in place. There is one of these that if you paid attention, you create your plan, you create your structure, you go through all of these and make sure that all of it's in place. There's one of these that if you were to focus on, everything else is a natural byproduct of it. So you sit down, you figure out your structure, you have the conversations, the mindset, the data, all of these pieces. Now that one piece is the data, impact, resources created, wins, growth tracking. If you are tracking data and you are tracking information, it is going to be a natural response for you to leverage that, to leverage what you've got. And then it actually strengthens your mindset and you hold up those boundaries naturally. And when you hold up those boundaries and you're tracking that data, your structure continues to stay in place and you're going to get to that new experience. So the problem with that is that tracking data and information is the most boring part of business. And so that's why we're gamifying it. That's why we're making the most boring part entertaining so that you actually get it done. And so when you actually get this data and information tracked, what automatically happens is all of that, right? You get to that new experience. Sorry to repeat myself there. But we do this by making it entertaining. So you receive through your chatbot every week some, a form where you can record all of this data and information, and you can receive the results that you've created in your business. The next thing that it does, that we do, is we help you to actually see that you are producing results as far as you are accomplishing things, you are checking things off of your checklist, you're getting tasks done. And that is in part production because you're seeing that you're getting results, but you're also being forced to leverage what you have. And so we are just hacking the simple success cycle by playing games. So you can see all of these different categories. And so I want you to look at each of these categories. As you go through and you write out that structure, you're going to come up with a plan. You're going to come up with the conversations you need to have. You're going to come up with the mindset you need to have in place. You can see that in all of these different categories. These need to actually be turned into specific tasks. Otherwise, it's just a fun idea on paper. And so as you write out what boundaries need to exist, I need you to go to the bottom of your PDF that you get through this community and turn that into a specific task. Have that conversation with my partner. Tell my best friend that I'm not available between these hours to text for 4 hours. You know, what do you need to believe to be successful? Do you need to have, you know, affirmations posted on your walls all around in order for you to do that? That's a task. That's something that you have to do in order to make that stay in place. Go through all of these and identify what are the actual specific tasks that need to be completed in order for you to get to that new experience. So now that you know what you need to do, once you've identified all of those tasks, it can become fun. And that's how you take those tasks and turn them into the moves for the games. Why are games important? Because compared with games, reality is too easy. Games challenge us with voluntary obstacles that help us put our personal strengths to better use. And this is from the book, Reality is Broken by Jane McGonigal. So we play games because business isn't so hard. It's so boring. Business is so boring that we're turning it into a game so that you actually do the things and be consistent and show up and make things happen. So there are 4 different areas that I want you to understand, the 4 C's of gaming in your business that you are going to align with. Perhaps you like games that are based on cooperation. You like to work with other people to achieve goals together. Or perhaps you prefer head-to-head competition and you just want to crush and dominate everyone. Or there's connection. You want to just connect with other people and have support as you're moving forward. Or you want completion. You want to see that you're actually checking things off, and that motivates you to move forward. So the question that I have is, what motivates you? Is it cooperation, competition, connection, or completion? Typically, you'll have 2 of these that are really important to you. And that's going to help you understand how you should be playing the games. What challenges you? Going back to that quote, if it does not challenge you, you're going to peace out and be done with it, and you'll stop seeing progress in your business. So identify what challenges you in the games so you can lean into that. What type of games do you love? So ask yourself that. Do you prefer the games where you're all collaboratively working together? Do you prefer just fun trivia? What is it that motivates you to play games? So, you know, there's my website, but because, you know, you guys don't need this because you're already in the community. But all of that being said, that gives you the outline of the system that we're working from.